What is going on, guys, and welcome to your targeting training. In this session today, we're going to go through the art of putting ads in front of the right people, the most highly converting people that are possible for you and your business moving forward. So let's jump into the training intentions. So there are 5 things we intend to cover today. The first one is to understand what targeting is and why it's a key component to success in marketing. 2 is to have complete clarity on targeting best practices. 3 is to appreciate the power of targeting creative congruency, and we'll get onto kind of what that means a little bit later. And 4 is to be able to transform your avatar into a targetable audience. And then finally, number 5 is to uncover the back doors into targeting people you want in your team. So let's jump in. So what is targeting? Targeting is simply the practice of constructing an audience that you want the advertising platform to place your marketing efforts in front of, with the idea that it will be more efficient and effective in the ad's ability to convert the desired outcome. Simply, it's how you tell Facebook who you want to see your ads. And why is it so important? It's really simple. So first of all, it's would you prefer your ad to be shown to 82-year-old Mildred who can just about see a phone screen enough to like a couple of her grandkids' posts and occasionally comment, "That's lovely, Michael"? Or would you prefer your ad to be put in front of George, a 26-year-old fella from London, searching for an opportunity to impact the world and the people of it while being heavily invested in reducing the amount of plastic pollution within the oceans? Like, what would you prefer? Because that is why targeting is so important, because it gives you the ability to differentiate between whether you want to spend money targeting 82-year-old Mildred or whether you want to spend your money targeting 26-year-old George. So now the boring theory stuff's out the way, let's get started with the fun stuff, the actionable stuff, and the stuff that's going to transform your business. So let's have a quick review of the training intentions, because number 1 is already ticked off and we're just a few minutes in. So let's jump into number 2 and get clarity on targeting best practices. So targeting best practices, the first one is you don't want to be targeting more than about 3 million people in an ideal audience size. So 3 million is about the ideal audience size. You can up that to about 5 at a top end, but going over by that couple million is no problem if it is absolutely necessary for you to be able to accommodate and create the audience that you intend to create. So if by adding that 3rd, 4th or 5th audience you go over by a few 100,000 to a couple of million, it's absolutely no problem if if that is the audience you intended to target with this ad. But if you're just adding stuff in there to boost the numbers, avoid that. You want to be sub 3 million or sub 5 million at a push. And the reason for that, actually, before I move on, is just because by doing this, by niching down at the base level, at the the grassroots level of before you even send your ad out, it enables the algorithm to optimize more quickly and more greatly towards getting you results, because it's got less shit overall to sift through. It's not digging through an entire square mile of dirt to find a diamond. It's digging through a square meter. And that's the way you've got to think of it. By you compressing your audience down to a few million, up to 5, 3 and lower ideally, you're gonna reduce that area that Facebook has to search for results for you, and that makes the search so much easier. Okay, so 3 to 5 targetable categories. So I mentioned it briefly on the slide before, but per ad set, per audience, you want to have no more really than 5 at a maximum audiences. So interests, they could be interest, job titles, influencers, careers, relationship statuses, etc. You want to have no more than 5 of them at a max. So an example on the right is travel, mindset, entrepreneurship, beaches and Bali. But I can guarantee you now, if you go and try and use that, you're going to be miles outside of the 3 to 5 million kind of mark, because this audience is going to be about 18 million people. So when you're targeting multiple countries, if you're one of the few people that do choose to target multiple countries, and if you are, pat on the back for you, because that's awesome. You need to make sure that you're separating the countries by ad set. So if you want to target multiple countries, so let's just say the example on screen is UK and USA, The reason you want to keep them separate in separate ad sets is because it allows the algorithm to optimize per country in each ad set rather than optimize for both countries in one ad set, which causes optimization confusion. So for example, in the UK, after about 9 p.m, the algorithm would have chosen to spend most of your money by that point. But the problem with that is when you've got the US in there as well, the algorithm can't optimize to take advantage of the golden period of between 6 and 9 p.m. in the UK, because it's optimizing for the dinner time rush as well in the States. So you're basically taking your budget and splitting it between two prime times to get, it's like watching primetime TV. You either watch program A or program B, and you have to put one on record. You don't get to watch both at the same time. You can't function that way, and neither can the algorithm. You need to split those countries into two separate ad sets to avoid that kind of optimization confusion. Next is creative indirect targeting. So this just means using your ads creative. If you don't know, the creative is just the combination of copy, headline, and visual. Using that section of your ad to add extra layers of targeting and pre-qualification to your overall campaign. So you might be targeting things like beaches and oceans and stuff, but through the campaign to focus more on the sustainability crowd and bring that kind of person into your business, you might add things in there like, help reduce single-use plastics, help reduce plastic pollution, and that all hit home with the people that are heavily invested, like George on the previous slides, to resonate more greatly with your ad. You're adding extra levels of targeting at the creative level of your ad. So you've done your optimization at the targeting, now you're optimizing again and adding extra levels within your creative, and it's really powerful. So that is the best practices covered. So now we're going to jump into number 3, which is the power of targeting creative congruency. So what is targeting congruency? And we're mixing it in with the creative. So it's simply making sure your audience matches the content of the ad creative as well. So your ad creative, as I just covered, is a combination of copy, headline, visual, and making sure that those 3 things align with your targeting. So let's jump into an example. Which of these 3 options works best? There's option A, B, or C. So A, on all of these, we've got the same image, headline, and copy. So the only thing we really need to focus on is the difference in targeting. So beach photograph, location freedom focused headline, and traveling and earning focused copy. So which targeting is going to work best? Targeting A of dogs, cats, and Aldi, targeting B of world cuisine, or targeting C of beaches, KLM, and Thailand? Well, we all pretty much should, in this example, be hot on it and know that C is the correct answer. So C is the correct answer because your targeting is beaches, Thailand, KLM. So you're targeting very highly specific, typically travel based categories. So having a beach photograph is going to really hit home with people that like beaches and also people that like Thailand, because Thailand is full of idyllic beaches. Location freedom is going to really hit home with potentially the KLM crowd, because they could, be traveling for work but being tied to different locations. They could just want the ability to jump on flights as and when they want. But it's really going to hit home with the Thailand bunch, because a lot of expats and a lot of people in the traveler scene, the backpacker scene, end up in Thailand for an extended period of time. So it's going to hit home with them. And then travel and earn. So many people come to Thailand and then work in bars for cash in hand and stuff. So you're going to really hit home with those guys as well. So it's really powerful to, have that congruency in your targeting throughout every element of your advertising campaign, not just in the targeting itself and then have a generic as shit, creative. It's about optimizing for your targeting throughout the entire thing. And Sam would have talked about that in the avatar section as well. So that's number 3 ticked off. So number 4 is the ability to transform your avatar into a targetable audience. So let's have a look at that. So targeting your avatar. So from the avatar training, you should know a few things about your ideal team member by now. So you might know any number of these things, maybe even all of them. You could know the hobbies that they have. You could know even a potential name. You could know, what health and wellness they're into, the diet they follow, the type of friends they keep, their relationship status, their gender, their income, goals and values, desires, books and authors, barriers, pain points, etc. It could go on. It could be, that they love Game of Thrones. Whatever it is, you might know that about them by now, which I hope you do, because that means you're following the training to an absolute T. So thumbs up to you. But how do we take these ideas of a person, this what would you say, a mirage of a person that we've created as our ideal team member, and turn it into a targetable audience? So we take all of that stuff and take 3 core pillars. So the 3 core pillars of business and of life is finances, interest, and mindset. So you can't start a business if you don't have a bit of financials. You can't start a business if you don't have a mindset, or at least the openness to develop a good mindset. And you can't start a business if you've got interest in nothing, because where are you going to start a business? If you're not interested in fuck all, you can't start a business in fuck all. So these are 3 great core pillars to base our audiences on. So instead of going through the process, we've jumped into a shortcut, and I've created one and Lily's created one. So from a financial point of view, we've gone with some of the brands that we like. So for me, I've gone with Hugo Boss. I've got Hugo Boss glasses, I've got Hugo Boss scents, I've got, Hugo Boss watches, etc. So I'm a big Hugo Boss fan. I like it. So for me, that allows me to target people with a bit of financial security, a bit of financial kind of stability, etc. Because it's a medium to high ticket brand. It's a medium to high ticket material possession. So that means that the people that are interested in it are typically going to have a bit more money accessibility than other people that maybe like Primark. And that's nothing against Primark, but people that buy Hugo Boss are typically going to have more money available to them. Next, in the interests, we've got ocean. So for me, I absolutely adore the ocean. I adore, sea life. I adore the ocean itself. I adore all aquatic life, but more specifically the ocean. And all my life I've kept fish tanks and stuff like that, and looked after aquatic animals and stuff until recent years while I've been traveling, and it's been unsustainable to do so. But the ocean is a massive part of my passion, and one of my long-term goals is to either found or contribute heavily towards the cleaning up of the oceans, and found a charity potentially in that section, or at least an organisation that goes out and does something about the shit that's going on in the ocean. So targeting that is going to allow me to really connect with people that are on the same wavelength for me, have the same passions in either fish keeping or cleaning up the oceans, or just generally love the ocean via surfing, water sports, etc. It's going to really allow me to connect with a wide variety of people that love one of the things that I love, the ocean. Finally, we've got Jay Shetty. Now, I can tell you now that Jay Shetty isn't targetable, but I'm putting it here as an example of things that people in my avatar would like. Eventually, Jay Shetty might become targetable, and if it does, that's my fucking ticket to hit it big, because then these 3 core pillars I get to target, no problem. But yeah, Jay Shetty for me, I never thought I'd become a massive fan of him. I never really followed him, but then I read a book that he wrote, and it changed my life. So now I'm a massive, massive fan of Jay. I'm a massive fan of kind of the monk mindset and the stuff that he teaches around that. So I want people that have the same level of awareness around that sort of thing to be the people that I bring into the business. So now that we've looked at me, let's have a look at Lily. So Lily went with the same idea on the financials and went with a designer brand that she likes. So she's a big fan of Ralph Lauren. She's got Ralph Lauren beach bags, handbags, all sorts of stuff. And again, it's a higher ticket item. And you're not going to see people walking around with Ralph Lauren that can't afford it, because and again, it means that the people we're targeting have access to money in some form or another. So it's going to make the transition into DPM for the £77 so easy. It's going to make the transition into a Nagic less of a barrier. So it makes sense. Number 2, elephants. You name it. T-shirt, pants, tattoos, the lot. Lily fucking loves elephants. She's volunteered with them. She's got tattoos of them. Everything. Like, Lily loves elephants. She lives and breathes them. She's like I said, volunteered at sanctuaries. Wants to contribute to sanctuaries more in the future, etc. So hitting elephants as a target audience is huge for Lily and the people that she would love to connect with. Finally, for Lily is Mindvalley. So again, mindset, Lily loves Vishen. She's read all of his books. She loves the lessons that he teaches as the founder of Mindvalley, and then the value that Mindvalley give as part of their platform and stuff is absolutely insane, and she loves that. So connecting with people with these three really hits the core pillars for Lily. So now that we've done that, like, what can we do more? We can continue creating more of these until we run out of combinations based on the avatar that we created in the avatar training. And what we're going to do with these is we're going to use them to create ads for, but we're also going to use them later on to split test and find how our ad, which of the audiences that we've created based on our avatar is the highest performing. But to really learn more about that, see the split testing training. The basic split testing training is with myself, and the more advanced split testing, the all-in method, is with Chris Brown. So check those out if you want to learn how you can use all of these audiences you've created and just find the best one for any particular ad that you're running at the time. But moving forwards, we've now learned how to transform our avatar into a targetable audience. So to uncover the back door into targeting people you want in your team is the final of the 5 points that we aimed to cover in this session. So through the back door. So backdooring is simply the act of targeting more niche audiences within bigger audiences to bring the cost of your advertising down and the quality of your leads goes up. The bonus of this is that your ROAS becomes more profitable, and ROAS just means return on ad spend. It's just part of the lingo. You'll either be on board with it already or you'll get on board with it eventually because you'll be hearing it so much. So method number 1 of backdooring is simply using your avatar audiences. It's the quickest and most highly specific way for you to target your ideal team member. Like you couldn't have a better backdoor than the one you've crafted for yourself by getting this specific about who you want in your team. Number 2 is brands and competitors within your niche, within your kind of targeting, or within the market that you're targeting. So they could be, brands or competitors that, are actually in the travel industry, or it could be brands and competitors that target the travel industry, and you can use them to, kind of backdoor your way into their audiences and their niche within your industry, your market, etc. And what I mean by market is just say if you're heavily focused on the location freedom and travel freedom, etc. within this business, then you're probably going to be targeting more travel-y based audiences. So you could be targeting, instead of travel, the huge 12 million plus audience, you could be targeting smaller audiences like KLM and Airbnb instead, and getting more niche people that you know are going to be catching flights, people that you know are going to be booking, medium to long-term stays. So you're not going to be, by competitors, we're not talking about DPM members. I just want to mention that. Nobody in DPM at this current moment in time, and probably for a few more years at least, is a targetable audience on Facebook. So we're not looking to compete and kind of target anybody within DPM. We're looking to target the bigger companies that are there that we can target within our target market. Okay, number 3 is influencers and celebrities. So this is a massive one, especially if you're on Instagram, because Instagram is all about interests, influencers and celebrities. That's what the platform thrives on. So targeting influencers that your audience would like, or influencers competing in your target market. So influence that your audience might like, for example, might be Vishen, or it might be Jay, like me and Lily were talking about in our avatar. It might be those influencers that you end up targeting that your audience may like, or it might be influencers that are a little bit smaller that are creating ads and content within the same target market as you. So, Vishen, for a fact, I know promotes and runs ads for Mindvalley to his audience. So by us targeting him, we backdoor into his audience and get our ads appearing where his ads appear with his audience. So then we can connect with those people based on Vishen, and it's backdooring into the kind of personal development mindset kind of niche and target market. So that's another way you can do it. But the number 1 way, guys, the thing that we've been banging on about all the way through the School of Marketing, from your very first, maybe your 5th or 6th training session entering the School of Marketing, all the way through to now, is your avatar. Your avatar is the most simple and effective method for you to backdoor and shortcut your way to higher performing ads and higher scaling businesses more quickly than any other method, because it's highly specific to you, it's highly specific to the people you want to connect with, highly specific to your passions, your interests, everything else. And it's just going to make your life so much easier when you're targeting your avatar. So take all of the training you did with Sam and all of the targeting stuff you've just done with me and combine that into audiences you can target to backdoor through the bullshit and just get straight to the people that matter, straight to the people that want to buy, straight to the people that want to work with people on their wavelength, because that's what you can do when targeting your avatar. So we've done all 5 guys, but before we close out, I want to go through and teach you how to implement this, run you through the actual process of creating this within Facebook, because that is what is important. You know, at DPM we pride ourselves on not just teaching theory, but actually showing you step by step how to do it. So I'm just going to quickly switch screens over to the browser so that I can show you the setup of one of these. So I'm going to just delete all this out just so we can start from scratch. So here we go. So we'll start from here. So your location, you know, we didn't touch on this too much, but where in the world are your niche target market from, your avatar from? You know, are they from the UK like mine and Lily's are, or are they from somewhere else in the world? Like, are you from the UK but are dying to move to the US? You know, is your target audience in the US? Is your target audience in Switzerland, in Germany? You know, where in the world is your target audience? That's what you want to throw in here. Your age. So what age bracket do you want to be targeting on Facebook? Who is your avatar? What age range are they? Are they, you know, 25 to 34 like mine and Lily's, or are they more, you know, are they older? Are they younger? Are they somewhere in the middle? Is it a bigger range? Do you want to work with people from 25 to 45? Like, who is your age range? Select that here. Moving into gender, do you want to target all genders, or do you want to target only men or only women? You know, who is your avatar? Do you want a female team only? Do you want a male team only? Do you want anybody on your team, as long as they resonate with the interests and passions and, you know, opinions, etc. that you have? Like, make that decision here. And then detailed targeting, we'll go through with mine and Lily's. So, you know, one of my big interests, my big passions on the financial side is Hugo Boss. So let's select Hugo Boss as an interest. The next one for me was the oceans. So I'm going to select ocean. And then the last one for me was Jay Shetty, but he's currently, sadly, not a targetable audience. So I'm going to go with Lily's Mindset one, which was Mindvalley. Okay, so that is a mixture of me and Lily. Obviously, it's not just my avatar, it's also a bit of Lily's, but it brings us nicely into that rule we set earlier, that best practice of being within that 3 million to 5 million bracket. It's nice under that 3 million cap of 1.7 million, so it works perfectly for us. So then moving down the list a little bit, we want to now look at languages. So what language does your audience speak? You know, are you bilingual, trilingual, quadlingual? You know, do you want to target multiple different languages? Because if you do, you can select those here, or you can just leave it on all languages. If you know, you just want to show your ad in English and see who resonates with it. If you want to select more specifically like we typically do and select English, then you can do that. Next, we want to move down to placement. So this is a little bit more of a step up in targeting, but we want to optimize our placements. You know, do you want to allow Facebook to decide where your placements go and just allow automatic placements, or do you want to select your placements yourself? Now, for me personally, I'd recommend you do manual placements and give, again, like with the audience, cutting the audience down. By doing manual placements, you cut down the placements that Facebook can test. So if you only have visuals for feed and story, then select only feed and story placements and save the algorithm time and energy and, you know, learning, and just allow it to go there. So you can come through and you can select all those. Where do you want it to go? Make those selections and do it based on the ad type you're creating as well. If you're doing a, you know, type form story ad, then you probably only want it to go to stories. If you're doing a conversions ad, you might want it on stories, feeds, reels, all sorts of things. But you've got to make that decision here. Then finally, the last thing I want to mention while we're in the screen share of the desktop is, do you want to only send it to mobiles or desktops? You know, 90% plus of all Facebook traffic is on mobile, and 99% plus of all Instagram traffic is on mobile. So do you want to cut out that fraction of your audience that is on desktop, or do you want to just leave it for Facebook to kind of pick and choose and find people where the results are? It's up to you. So let me jump back into the PowerPoint and we'll close this out. So just simply, your targeting training is complete. We've been through 5 core things around targeting that are essential to you being able to craft your perfect audience. They're more theory than they are practice, because the practice of creating your audience is very, very simple. You just see me do it there in a few minutes. And as you do it more and more, it will become quicker and quicker and quicker. And you can even save setups so that you don't have to think about it. You can just click it from a drop-down menu and off you go. So you can even do that by clicking the Save This Audience button. But overall, guys, that is the end of the targeting training. It is complete, and I'll see you in another training soon.